风刮枝枝哈，那是青山一呀照。
Welcome to TRAVELOGUE's Jiangsu series. I'm Greta Georges. Here in Suzhou, the Chinese call this place heaven on earth. Marco Polo even named this the Oriental Venice. Suzhou has been flourishing because of its waters, and water is the very lifeline to this city.
Situated in the southeast of Jiangsu, Suzhou lies on the vast and fertile Yangtze River plain. The city has over 200 miles of narrow canals winding their way through it. Using its favorable location, this ancient 2,500-year-old city has succeeded in building an extensive trade network based on sophisticated land and water transport systems. In view of all this, I wanted to start my journey where trade kicked off here hundreds of years ago.
Changmen is a very symbol of the city of Suzhou. The Grand Canal and the river Shangtang meets here, and some 500 years ago, 3 other rivers converged at this point, promoting trade and the distribution of goods. So it's easy to imagine how this place was a busy marketplace once upon a time.
There's an air of nostalgia here that evokes Changmen's glorious past. It seems fitting for such a central location that former residents still return. Even though they've moved away, their strong sense of community keeps them coming back. Right in sync with Suzhou's watery charm is Shangtang Street, lying conveniently adjacent to Changmen Gate in the east.
The best way of soaking up Shangtang's vibrancy is by the boat.
Shangtang Street extends for 3.5 kilometers along Shangtang River. Its heyday in the Song dynasty, some 700 years ago, saw it develop into the largest commercial street in Suzhou, when trade was conducted right next to the picturesque and highly convenient waterway.
That guy over there has an old school camera. Because this place is so picturesque, it's like a postcard. Anywhere you look at it, that bridge, this nook and cranny. Fantastic. I got my own. I'm going to take one of these shots.
I can't help feeling a little amorous in this place, with all its private villas, ancient bridges, and je ne sais quoi spirit. Everyone here are very relaxed, seeming to take one thing at a time. All in all, Shangtang Street encapsulates the very spirit of Suzhou as a water town with its quaint setting and carefree traditional lifestyle.
Now I can understand why they call this the Oriental Venice. Look at it. Just completely intimate with the canals. Neighbors, hello! Hi!
This tourist hotspot has hordes of bars, restaurants, shops and tea houses for those looking for a little R&R. But tradition still reigns in this area, and besides taking a leisure stroll along the canal, there's another must-do on your list. Suzhou people have a great reputation for the extreme attention to detail, and this is an example of what that translates into. Step into this art shop and gawk at all the art pieces. And yes, if you squint really hard, you see that they're not painted, but rather meticulously sewn.
Look at these intricate paintings. You can't even tell they're made of silk.
Suzhou is famous for its silk paintings and garments. Passed down from mother to daughter, it's a tradition here for girls to learn silk weaving from a very young age. Catch a live demonstration and marvel at the delicacy of the girls' skill. Suzhou is known for turning out some of the finest quality silk products in the world.
你缝的就像这幅画一样啊。
哎，对，我就是照着这一幅这个图案，然后来这个刺绣。这一幅的话至少要2个月的时间。
2个月啊？
您可以来试一下。
不介意吧？
不介意。
好，我来试一下。我妈妈一定会很骄傲的。这线是非常细的一条线，不是普通的那种，对吗？
一根丝线的话，可以说100多根蚕宝宝的丝线拧合而成。我可以把这一根丝线分成很多份来就是绣。这样它的反方向拧。然后它有，你看它这边有一条这个勾出来了，是吧？
为什么我的好像拧不出来 ？Just before I stitch, just even getting the thread out is
对，非
skill in
常好。
itself. Alright, Mom, here goes nothing. 怎么样去缝呢 ？Okay, she's doing the great bit.
This is such a delicate art. It requires every ounce of concentration. Yet strangely, I feel a sense of peace wash over me. It seems like the perfect quick fix therapy for frazzled nerves. After a spot of soothing sewing, I decided to hit the streets. This local candy being spun delicately by the hand is quaintly called Dragon's Beard, but something else caught my attention.
Listen, is that a cat? Is that a baby crying somewhere? Ah, what is this? Hello, 你好.
你好.
This is in fact a cat, but I don't understand why it's making a funny sound. A cat with a string. 这怎么玩的？
啊，你没玩过这东西是吧？很简单，把它握在你的左手，3个手自然弯曲，形成一个回音孔。右手的拇指、食指轻轻的滑动，晃动它。猫叫，手往里；小孩哭，手打开；老母鸡下呢，笑哈哈哈哈；狗叫，你好，笑，手一定要变啊。对，这样就能完成这个。不是，轻轻的试一下看看。
String goes a long way. 这个怎么卖的？
哦，5块钱一个，买你的，谢谢，
谢谢你，
谢谢，谢谢，玩得开心点啊。
If there's one thing Suzhou is really famous for, it's the meticulously designed classical gardens. In this busy city, you're never more than a hop and a skip away from the peace and tranquility in one of the 288 oases of calm. I decided to skip the crowds at the humble administrator's garden and instead head somewhere more intimate and cozy. But first, I've got to hunt it down.
Fine. Oh. It's over there. I've been walking through alleyways and labyrinths, and finally, I found Yipu Garden, built in the Ming Dynasty, and it's tucked around these old residential compounds.
There's actually a special connection between the humble administrator's garden and this one. At one time, the owner's grandfather designed the humble administrator's garden. But what really made Yipu Garden special was its owner's reputation for integrity. As government officials were known for their honest and uncorrupt ways, they were naturally very popular here.
In Suzhou, the concept of a garden includes a residential compound, and it once probably belonged to a wealthy owner, a merchant, or perhaps a scholar. Now, in the West, there are botanical gardens, and you might think of vast greenery, but here, these private gardens are intricately woven and designed into the daily lives of residents who once lived here. And this provides a breathing space right in their own backyards.
I can almost picture a group of ancient scholars reciting poetry and practicing calligraphy here. There's a powerful sense that this hidden sanctuary really does nourish the soul. In a culture that takes pride in cultivating the mind, this is just the place for a spot of quiet contemplation. I met a group of European gardening enthusiasts who were part of a tour group. They'd come specially to see the famed gardens of Suzhou. Well, I took the chance to ask one of these experts what were the major differences between Western and Chinese gardens.
A big difference, because the Chinese garden is meant to imitate or symbolize the wilderness with its lakes, its mountains, while in Sweden we want to have these lined up, symmetrical things.
Well, what's your favorite garden?
Well, there are 9 World Heritage Gardens in Suzhou, and actually this is my favorite garden, the Yipu, or Garden of Cultivation.
Well pronounced.
I was living in Suzhou a couple of years ago for a while, and then I spent some of the days when I felt very stressed and tired. I spent some hours in the tea house here, having some lü cha, some green tea, reading and writing, and some old Chinese people, maybe retired people, hang out here and contribute to the very relaxed meditation-like atmosphere here. I believe when all of us leave here already, we got the Suzhou and the Suzhou gardens in our hearts. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
On the one hand, it has traditional gardens, and on the other, Suzhou has something new and highly innovative. Ian Pei, the man behind the Louvre in Paris, has designed a stunning white sprawling stucco building that has really beautified the city's skyline.
The legendary Ian Pei designed this modern Chinese museum, and it's completely free to enter. Look at the line.
This project means a lot to Ian Pei personally, as his ancestors lived in Suzhou for hundreds of years. The concept for this $40 million building was the artful incorporation of ancient and modern.
This garden has all the quintessentially Chinese elements: a footbridge, a pond, Suzhou, grey and white colors, and these rocks. Now, in a traditional Chinese garden, you'll see cast formation, but here it's thinly sliced rocks that's used to mimic a mountain. So it's actually Chinese in spirit, but with a modern twist.
Suzhou is known for its meticulous and intricate handicrafts, so naturally a lot of the exhibits have these qualities. Ian Pei has masterfully woven the design of the exhibition hall to showcase these timeless treasures. Each of the exhibits tell a part of the story of Suzhou's colorful past.
Ian Pei built many skyscrapers and extraordinary buildings all over the world, but building this pavilion was his dream. He fashioned it according to a Song Dynasty manuscript, and basically it was a Bible for most architectural students in China. Ultimately, this piece of work is a sign of respect for his ancestors. Oh, it's fascinating to see this entire structure is just firmly rooted to the ground, and not a single nail was used in the construction of this pavilion.
When evening falls, it's curtains up at the Masters of Nets garden. This is the only garden in Suzhou that has a nightly performance. It promises you a slice of traditional Chinese music and entertainment. Once owned by a leading government official, this perfectly manicured classical garden surprises you with the enchanting and almost haunting atmosphere that is created by these amazing artists.
All you have to do is follow this lady with a red lantern, and you can head on down to all the different performances all around this garden.
And then we can enjoy the local opera, which is called Kun Opera. Musical instrument is called guzheng. It has a long history of more than 2,000 years.
This is a major bang for your buck. As you walk through the gardens and are enthralled by performances from singing and acting to comedy, it's a one-stop shop for your evening entertainment needs. And I'll say it's the ultimate in enjoyment with achingly beautiful music in this ancient setting. The best way to know a city is to walk through it. If Shangtang Street is a little touristy for your taste, then Pingjianglu will probably tickle your fancy. This is a street that's hip and happening and TRAVELOGUE.
Suzhou City is surrounded by a river, and you can see this is an 800-year-old map with water canals and roads just crisscrossing each other. And it still remains, till this day, a clear demarcation of a city. Now we're standing here in Pingjianglu. This is the most well-preserved section of the city, and the water canals still sustain life for the residences today.
Pingjianglu is a true symbol of quintessential Suzhou living, and it's these very waters that help to carry on the tradition of the rustic lifestyle here. The backdrop is a good representation of what Suzhou was like some 500 years ago. If you want to fully appreciate the laid-back charm of the place, you should spend at least one night here. And that's why I'm checking into this well-preserved residential courtyard.
This used to be someone's living room some 450 years ago, and now it's a lobby. Look at all the Chinese furnishings. It's so authentic. Do you know, back in the days, the host would sit here, and the guests will be lined up all around there, although I think you have to shout to get your voice across. Let's go check out the rooms.
If the devil is in the detail, then the architectural design of this Ming Dynasty residential compound must have really made someone's life hell. There's some details that even double up as a pun.
And look, a bedpost, a moon-shaped bedpost. You know, in Chinese, yuan means circle, and yuanfen means fate and destiny, and they sound alike. So the Chinese have fashioned a cyclical bedpost to represent how lovers are bound by fate and destiny. I think they've given me the honeymoon suite. All to myself.
The best way to get to know a culture is through the people. So I was lucky to meet Mr. Zhao Xinghua. He's my friend's teacher, and as luck would have it, he's also a former tour guide.
It's interesting, there are lots of little nooks and crannies.
Yes, this section is very representative of old Suzhou city patterns. You can always see the small streets, which is lined by a canal behind the house. So we call the urban city of Suzhou is chessboard.
Oh, right.
I think water is very intimate to me because when I was a boy, every day we had very close relations with the water, and with washing, and with fresh water from the canal.
So everything really happens along the canal,
yes.
in the canal.
Hey, Greta, guess what this for?
This twig, I don't know, it doesn't look like it much
This
use.
is just a tree branch, okay? To fix them on the post so they can put their laundry post.
Right. Very, very ingenious of them. So they make use of everything outside. Yes. I suppose they're neighbors. There's a Hosteling International. What are they doing? 每天都坐在这吗？对，都在这里。几个小时啊？
一天基本上来来回回，烧饭的时候回家烧饭。
那今天发生了什么事？
没有。
好，玩，好吧，我们也去玩。好，谢谢你，再见。
The locals are a friendly bunch, and even though there have been lots of changes to Pingjianglu, it still manages to maintain its essential charm. Trendy shops and cafes have invaded the area, and it's frequented by Suzhou's glitterati crowd. The older folk who call this place home don't seem to mind the extra company, and the unique vibe here has brought loads of foreigners to kick back in true Omeet's new style.
It is a romantic city, though, too, with the water, and it's just very pretty. It's a beautiful city, especially this time of year, the spring.
And even though it's a big city, but it has a small town feel to it. And everywhere we go, people are very friendly, always.
It's wonderful here.
I love it! Yes, it is. Very wonderful.
Mr. Zhao insisted that I can't leave Pingjianglu without experiencing Suzhou's favorite pastime. Pingtan originated right here. It's a form of storytelling combined with ballads sung in Suzhou dialect.
See a lot of older people.
Yeah, definitely. A lot more older people.
Maybe perhaps they come here every day.
Every day. This is a favorite leisure activity, huh? 每天来的，2次1次，1次就够了。这是我第一次来看。
我们苏州人呢最欢喜这个平台，这平台最好听，苏州话最好听。天天开心，上工就做。
The pressure is really on for these performers, with all the skills they must master, including singing, acting, and playing an instrument. And sometimes they have to work with a pretty tough crowd. For locals, watching Pingtan is like sitting in front of the telly. Lots of old people spend hours watching it, but not all of them pay much attention. Still, there's no offense meant to the performers. It might be challenging for foreigners to sit through the entirety, but it's one of the best ways of understanding what makes the locals tick.
It's easy to get cozy here in Suzhou. From the quaint water alleys to the people's leisure way of living, there's an audible appreciation for life. And if you feel that special, timeless quality wash over you, then you might even agree that this could be heaven on earth. My name is Greta Georges, and this has been Travelogue.